Could you imagine a front in World War II that saw more combat than the entire Western Front? Welcome to the Eastern Front. Often overlooked, the Eastern Front was a pivotal theatre in the Second World War, stretching from the icy Arctic north to the warm Black Sea in the south. It was here that the colossal armies of Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union clashed in a life-or-death struggle. Two totalitarian powers, each with its own vision for the future of Europe, locked in a bitter and bloody conflict. The scale was staggering. Battles raged across vast landscapes, from the dense forests of Belarus to the open steppes of Russia. Cities were besieged, villages razed, and countless lives changed forever. Yet, the Eastern Front was far more than a mere battleground. It was a brutal and devastating theatre of war, where the stakes were survival and total annihilation. The Eastern Front was not just a geographical front, but a shifting tide of power and control. In the early days of the war, the German Wehrmacht seemed unstoppable. Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion in the history of warfare, was launched with the objective of conquering the Soviet Union. The initial successes were staggering. The German forces advanced rapidly, capturing millions of Soviet soldiers and swallowing up vast tracts of territory. The cities of Minsk, Smolensk, and Kiev, among others, fell into German hands. But the tide of the war was about to change. The Battle of Stalingrad, a grueling urban combat that lasted for 5 long months from August 1942 to February 1943, became a pivotal moment in the war. The city was reduced to rubble, yet the Soviet forces held on, fighting for every street, every building. The German forces became trapped in a city that was now a fortress, surrounded and cut off from supplies. The outcome was catastrophic for the Germans. The entire Sixth Army, the pride of the German Wehrmacht, was either killed, wounded, or captured. Then came the Battle of Kursk, one of the largest tank battles in history. The Soviets had learned from their earlier defeats and were now prepared for the German onslaught. After 10 days of intense fighting, the German forces were repelled, marking another significant turning point in the war. Moreover, the harsh winter conditions played a crucial role in the warfare. The German forces, ill-equipped for the severe cold, faced frostbite, disease, and equipment failure. The Soviet forces, more accustomed to the harsh climate, used it to their advantage, launching counter-offensives that caught the Germans off guard. These key battles and harsh conditions dramatically shifted the tide of the war, setting the stage for a Soviet counter-offensive that would reach the heart of Berlin. Underneath the tactical maneuvers and strategic decisions, the Eastern Front was a story of immense human suffering. The human cost of this front was unparalleled, with casualty rates soaring beyond comprehension. Millions of soldiers from both sides of the conflict fell, their lives extinguished in the harsh, unforgiving theatre of war. But it wasn't just the soldiers who bore the brunt of this devastation. Civilians, too, were caught in the crossfire, subjected to brutality that defies understanding. Homes were razed, families torn apart, and communities decimated. The Eastern Front was not just a military battlefield, it was a war zone where innocent lives were indiscriminately snuffed out. Beyond the physical violence, war crimes stained the hands of both sides. These were not merely acts of war, but deliberate, calculated atrocities that shook the very foundations of human morality. Soldiers were transformed into perpetrators, civilians into victims. The Eastern Front was a brutal showcase of the worst of humanity, where the lines between soldier and civilian often blurred. The Eastern Front, despite its scale and impact, is often overshadowed in Western memory of World War II. Yet its legacy reverberates through the annals of history, shaping the geopolitical landscape of the post-war world. The Eastern Front was the crucible where the Cold War was born. This war of ideologies, pitting East against West, was a direct result of the dramatic shift in power dynamics prompted by the events on the Eastern Front. Fast forward to today, and the Eastern Front still holds a powerful place in collective memory, especially in Russia and Germany. In Russia, the Great Patriotic War, as it's known, is a symbol of national resilience and sacrifice. Meanwhile, in Germany, it is a somber reminder of a dark period in the nation's history. The Eastern Front was a pivotal theatre in World War II, one that shaped the course of history and still echoes in our world today.